impossible.
What?
I'm back here.
So you've gotten kind of nervous, haven't you?
Yeah, toward the end of the day. Trees got thick, didn't they? What's that?
We had that for Larry. Blew down last night. You know.
Why, are you afraid you'll forget him?
What kind of remark is that?
How is Dad?
He got smaller.
Smaller?
Yeah, little. He's a little man. That's what happens to suckers, you know. It's good I went to him in time. Another year, there'd be nothing left but his smell.
What's the matter, George? What's the trouble?
The trouble? The trouble is when you make suckers out of people once, you shouldn't try to do it twice.
What does that mean?
You're not married yet, are you?
George, will you sit down and stop?
Are you married yet?
No, I'm not married yet.
You're not going to marry him.
Why am I not going to marry him?
Because his father destroyed your family.
Now look, George.
Cut it short, Chris. Tell her to come home with me. Let's not argue. You know what I've got to say.
You don't want to be the voice of God, do you? That's
I'm
been the trouble all your life. You dive into things. What kind of statement is that to make? You're a big boy now.
I'm a big boy now.
Don't come bullying in here. If you've got something to say, be civilized about
Don't
it.
civilize
Are
me.
you going to talk like a grown man, or aren't you?
Sit down. Don't be angry. What's wrong? Kissed me when I left, and now you're...
My life turned upside down since then. Annie, we did a terrible thing. We can never be forgiven, not even to send a card at Christmas. I didn't see him once since I got home from the war. Annie, you don't know what was done to him.
Of course I know.
You can't know. You wouldn't be here. Dad came to work that day. The night foreman came to him and showed him the cylinder heads. They were coming out of the process with defects. There was something wrong with the process. So Dad went directly to the phone and called here and told Joe to come down right away. But the morning passed. No sign of Joe. So Dad called again. By this time, he had over 100 defectives. The army was screaming for stuff that he didn't have anything to ship. So Joe told him. Over the phone, Joe told him to weld, cover up the cracks in any way he could, and ship them out.
Are you through now?
I'm not through now. Dad was afraid. He wanted Joe there if he was going to do it. But Joe can't come down. He's sick. Sick. He suddenly gets the flu. Suddenly. But he promised to take responsibility. Do you understand what I'm saying? Over the telephone, you can't have responsibility. In a court, you can always deny a phone call, and that's exactly what he did. They knew it was a lie the first time, but in the appeal, they believed that rotten lie, and now Joe is a big shot, and your father is the patsy. Now what are you going to do? Eat his food? Sleep in his bed? Answer me! What are you going to do?
What are you going to do, George?
He's too smart for me. I can't prove a
Then
phone
how dare
call.
you come in here with that rot?
George, the court...
The court did not know your father. But you know him. You know in your heart Joe did it.
Or your voice, or I'll throw you out of here.
George, I know everything you said. Dad told the whole thing in court, and
The court did not know him, Annie.
You know him. You know how quick he can lie.
I'll ask you something, and you look me in the eye when you answer me. You know your father, and he's the kind of boss to let 121 cylinder heads be shipped out of his shop without him even knowing about it. The same Joe Keller who never left his shop first without going to see that all the lights were out. The same man who knew exactly how many minutes a day his workers spent in the toilet. And my father, that frightened mouse who never bought a shirt without somebody along. That man would dare do such a thing on his own.
On his own. Because he's a frightened mouse is another thing he'd do. Throw the blame on somebody else because he's not man enough to take it himself.
Chris, you're a liar to yourself.
Don't say that.
Tell me, George, what happened? The court record was good enough all these years. Why isn't it good now? Why did you believe it all these years?
Because you believed it. That's the truth, Chris. I believed everything because I thought you did. But today I heard it from his mouth. From his mouth, it is altogether different than the record. Anyone who knows him and knows your father will believe it from his mouth. Your father took everything we have. I can't beat that. But she's one thing that he's not going to grab. Get your things. Everything they have is covered with blood. You're not the kind of girl who can live with that. Get your things.
And you're not going to believe that, are you?
No, it's not true. Don't you?
How can he tell you it's his father? None of these things ever crossed your mind?
Of course they cross my mind. Anything can cross your mind.
Annie, he knows. He knows.
The voice of God!
Then why isn't your name on the business? Explain
What
that
the
to
hell has that got to do with?
Annie, why isn't his name on the
Even when I don't own it?
Fine. I'll settle it. Let me go talk to your father in 10 minutes. You'll have your answer. You are afraid of the answer.
I'm not afraid of the answer. I know the answer, but my mom isn't well, and I don't want to fight here now.
Let me go to him.
You're not starting a fight here now.
What more do you want?
Someone's coming.
You won't say anything.
You'll go soon. I'll call you a cab.
You're coming with me.
And don't mention marriage because we haven't even told her yet.
You're coming
George,
with me.
Don't. Okay, don't start anything right now.